There have been some additions to this Jaguars roster that they're poised to have much bigger impacts than what is expected out of them. They're either a late round draft pick or they were a late free agent signing. Either way, I feel like it's almost become the norm for the Jaguars to have players that make much bigger impacts than what was ever expected out of them, whether it be draft position, when we picked them up in free agency, from the draft, things like players like Alan Hurns, Telvin Smith, James Robinson. Two of those players were undrafted. One of them's a fifth round pick. And they're some of the best Jaguars in recent history. So, I want to ask you guys, who do you guys think is the most underrated Jaguar going into the season? Let me know down in the comment section below. Let's see if we can't find some similarities here. But also, while you're here, I'd love to have you, if you're new, subscribe to the channel. I've got a lot of great stuff coming down the pipeline as the season is just about to kick off. But starting us off here, Luke Fortner. I've been beating this Luke Fortner drum for a little bit. He was an incredibly important piece on the Kentucky offensive line. It was one of the nation's best offensive lines. Every year there's the Joe Moore Award. It's the award for the nation's best offensive line. Every year, I believe, for the last 3 years that Fortner was in Kentucky when he was a starter, Kentucky was in contention for that award. And in 2021, they were a finalist. That was the year Fortner moved into the center position from the guard position. In his final 2 years as a starter in Lexington for the Wildcats, Fortner allowed one single quarterback hit off of over 650 pass blocking snaps. Over 2 years, 650 pass blocking snaps, the quarterback hit the dirt one time. When you talk about keeping Trevor Lawrence upright, keeping that white jersey clean, that's exactly what you want. Yes, I know you might be saying he really played center one time. They really don't line up over the center and just push him straight back. But he was also a starting guard for one of those 2 years. So even if you take it as 325 pass blocking snaps, whether he did allow the quarterback hit or he didn't, one off of a year, it's still incredible. During the draft process, Pro Football Focus had this to say about him, and I agree with every bit of this. It was the center position, quote, it was the center position that really tapped into his high-level football IQ. While he has the body type and excellence to play at all three interior positions, it's the processing speed that sets him apart as a center. Fortner has the intangibles. That quote from PFF right there, I love that. It's the processing speed that sets him apart as a center. But Fortner is an incredible value pick there. It was the first pick of the third round. Fortner has the tangibles and the skill set, I do believe, to be a starter for the Jaguars and can absolutely be a great player. And having All-Pro Brandon Scherff next to him, it's going to do nothing but wonders. And whether he has Shatley or he has Barch playing on his other side, I do believe that interior of the offensive line is going to be a quiet, strong suit for the Jaguars. They say it's a competition for that starting center spot. I just don't believe it happening with the 65th pick in the 2022 draft going to Fortner. I don't see them investing that value in that pick to not be a starter. Now, Snoop Conner. Snoop Conner is another one, fifth round pick, and they actually traded up to get him. But he's honestly the exact type of running back the Jaguars needed to pick up, and they got him in a great spot. The fifth round, what I believe is going to be a nice value pick for the Jaguars. He's going to be that great, big, physical style running back that is just great in short yardage. When you think of James Robinson, you kind of think of that, great vision, not the top end speed, but a very short, quick burst. That's basically what Snoop Conner is in a nutshell. Whenever you look at his just one cut ability, he finds the hole, he cuts into it, and he gets going quick, fast, and in a hurry. And when he gets going, he is like a freight train running over every single thing in his way. Now, Conner offers more than just short yardage running. He also can be a really nice benefit for the Jaguars passing game. Not truly as a pass catcher, he hasn't shown a bunch as a pass catcher per se, but his physicality and willing to just accept and make contact makes him an incredible asset for pass blocking. When you have him in the backfield just kind of as that sixth blocker, he really does offer a lot there. He has the nice vision to see where holes are coming from, and I'm assuming that vision will be able to translate very well into pass blocking as well. Now, in his 34 games in Oxford, he scored 26 times for the Rebels. What's really important, I really do want to make this point here, out of his 26 touchdowns, 19 of them came from 5 yards or less. Snoop Conner bruises people. That's what he does. He is a steamroller, and I'm very excited to see if he's able to actually carve out a nice chunk of action in this Jaguars offense. With the fact that James Robinson's going to be absent, James Robinson's in a contract year, and he's going to be missing a portion of it. Maybe he does carve out that piece for him. Who knows? Maybe he even replaces James Robinson. I'm not predicting that. Don't freak out at me for saying that. But who knows? They do kind of play a similar skill set there. Now, number 3 here is Darius Williams. He comes to the Jaguars from the Super Bowl winning LA Rams on a 3-year, $30 million deal. I believe the max end of the contract is like $38 million. And I really do think this free agent signing is quietly going to be one of the better ones for the Jaguars. Obviously they have the top end, Scherf, Kirk, people like that. But I do think Darius Williams really has that upside to be one of the better signings that they made, despite him coming later in the process. Williams, I'm not going to say he struggled, but he wasn't as good as he was in 2020 when he was a second-team All-Pro. And if he can even flirt with his 2020 success, I do think the Jaguars are going to be in very good shape with him being their third corner, and potentially even being their second, depending on how well he does play. Now, Williams has the size to play inside at nickel, but his best work has come from the outside. When he's playing primarily on the outside in 2020, he allowed a passer rating of 59.9. That's just incredible. And whenever you look at him kind of playing, I believe he only played like 90 snaps in the slot, but still that passer rating jumped up to about 100. So you look at primarily on the outside and then just a little bit on the inside, that passer rating does jump. And you definitely notice that throughout the 2 years. But still, despite that drop in his play in 2021, Williams still had 8 pass breakups, only 2 less than what he had in his all-pro season in 2020. The story on Williams really truly does start and end with his 2020 season. If he can replicate 2020, the Jaguars are in great shape. If he cannot replicate 2020, cool, they got a decent third, I guess, but that's not who you want to get. And if you're going to move on, if you're going to kind of just bump people down the depth chart, you want to elevate the play. You don't want to just basically get, 5% better than Trey Herndon. You really do want to elevate the roster as a whole. Now, here I want to just make this honorable mention. He's not a player, but he is new to the team, and I think he's going to make a huge impact, and I believe his impact is already being felt throughout the team, and it's without a doubt bleeding into the fan base. Doug Peterson. Peterson was brought in to help pick up the pieces of and just rebuild the relationship with the fan base, with the players, with the front office. It was blown. All of those relationships were just blown up into a million pieces by the grifter of all grifters, the snake oil salesman of the year, of the decade, of the millennium, Urban Meyer. That whole deep dive was a lie. He lied to us. He lied to everybody. He was nothing but a grifter. Dougie P comes into the team as the only prior Super Bowl winning head coach in franchise history. That's a pedigree that cannot be ignored. He's come from an incredible Andy Reid coaching tree. His knowledge as a former NFL quarterback paid amazing dividends with the development of former quarterback of his, Carson Wentz. And with the expectations that Trevor Lawrence has and the chance to prove himself as one of the better young quarterbacks in the league, Doug Peterson can really solidify himself as one of the best quarterback developers in the league and potentially all time. He brought Carson Wentz before his injury he was looking like the front runner to being the MVP in 2017. So if he can even have similar success with Trevor Lawrence in that setting, you're looking at one of the best quarterback developers in a very long time. It's clear he had an idea of what he wanted this offense to look like, and he worked with Trent Baalke, and he got it to something that he wants it to look like. And if he has the success that we're hoping that he has, I think it's a year and a half before he leapfrogged Doug Marrone on that third podium spot as the best Jaguar coach of all time. So Doug Peterson, the expectations are incredibly high, and if he does exceed them still, even better. But I did want to throw him on here because despite the expectations being as high as they are, I think he can still even far exceed them. But thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Be sure to like and share the video as well. Thank you guys. Stay safe and go Jaguars.
How about them Jags?
Come on, Joe! Ah! Thank you, baby! Thank you! You're making blood come from my damn mouth!
Duval! Yeah!